overwhelming, a little weird. I've been away for 6 weeks, 6.5 weeks, so it's almost worse to come home during a tour than it is to just come back at the end, you know, have it be over. Especially to come back into CMJ, which is like
mayhem,
swirling maelstrom of insanity. But it's nice, and the show's gonna be great. You know, we've played here a few times, but it's our first time having our own show here, so it's cool. It's gonna be really good. The fans have definitely responded. The strength of their response to the new material has grown over the course of the tour. You know, the coolest thing I'm seeing on the second half is like people that it seems like they know all the words to the new songs and aren't as familiar with the old songs, which is kind of an inversion for most of the audience. But I think, you know, it takes a minute for something to saturate, and the response to the record's been awesome, but people also, I understand, they come to a show and they want to hear the stuff they know too. So we've been kind of delicate in massaging it in there, like how we play more than half of the new album every night. By percentage, it's way the most. That's the most of what we're playing, but we still get the old songs in there too. So, but people seem to dig it.
Dad, I know you can't see my actions.
I think that the thing I took away from working with Andy on that Bad Books record was that I can be a little too precious sometimes with some of the, especially lyrically, and sometimes with arrangement, and I could just kind of overthink. And he's very, very much in his head about a lot of things, but with some of that stuff, he's really good at letting the first good idea be the winner, you know? And so I kind of tried to take that into this record with an eye on making these well-constructed kind of my version of pop songs or whatever, but have them be maybe whatever the first right idea is, go with that, and not sit there and make myself crazy about the perfect thing or something, you know? Because you can paralyze yourself with that kind of perfectionism. It's not healthy. So I think I got some of that from working on that record with him.
We have to choose. Our bomb spoke loud, so I spoke to.
I think the best thing about working with Chris is that there's this balance between, we've known each other for so long, he's worked on every record I've made for the last 9 years. In some capacity or another, he's worked on them. So I mean, I feel like it's been, what he can still do is surprise me and push me to surprise myself, but also he's like putting on a really comfortable pair of shoes too. Like we know each other so well that we can kind of predict where the other one's going, and that could be bad if we didn't still have the capacity to like push each other. And I think the new record, we do some stuff that we hadn't done prior production wise, and so as long as that's still happening, it's a good relationship to keep. I feel like that record was the first, well, there's probably earlier turning points in terms of like maneuvering towards doing this in a way that is like a career, doing it all the time. That was really the first thing that was, I felt like a noticeable shift after we made that record towards like, there was a certain awareness about what we were doing, and it didn't sell 1 million records or anything, but it got a certain level of saturation that I thought was, I was really thrilled and surprised, like getting reviewed in like Rolling Stone or the New York Times, or being like, what? You know, like that was so outside the framework of my expectations that it was a really exciting time. It was also a really confusing time around when I made that record. I was going through a lot of stuff in my personal life. My father just passed away. So there was a lot happening, but it was really exciting. And actually, I have really fond memories of making that record. It seems to be the first record. There's still a real passionate camp around that record. There's people, that's for certain people, that's the Kevin Devine record. And I'm totally fine with that. Because every record I've made, there seems to be people who that's the Kevin Devine record. If you're doing that, you're doing something right. So, but I'll always have a fondness. That's the first record where I liked all the songs. Like, I always liked them at the time, but in retrospect, I look back at that and I'm like, I still think those songs are good. I don't think I sang them very well at 23 and was pretty much drunk the whole time we recorded the record, but I you know, you can get better at that over time, and you can still sing them now and they can grow, so.
Fix your eyes in middle distance. Rich queens for fast.
It wasn't so much transition as I was really not doing it professionally. I was doing freelance journalism, and I was doing an editor at my school paper in college, and so I was more at the cusp of making an entrance into journalism as a profession, while also doing music in what became more and more a semi-professional way. But my day job was like sort of using some of those journalism skills, writing documents for a headhunter, an executive search firm up on Park Avenue, while doing journalism and music on the side. So, but I mean, the moment where I kind of could go one way or the other, the choice was to try to go into a profession where I'd make no money and like what I was doing, or go into a profession where I'd make no money and love what I was doing. And so I picked the latter. But I didn't have the intellectual curiosity that you need to be a good journalist. I like certain things a lot, was interested in those things, but everything else I was kind of like not into it. My brother's a working journalist, and he's proven that to me because he has that, and he's really good at his job. And I would not, I don't think, have been, but maybe somewhere down the line that'll change.
Get back within yourself and listen close. I came here.
What the hell are you thinking? Now, I don't know. How'd you get so good looking? You know? And I would just tell him a lot of hard work, ab work, daily.
Beard.
Yep, a lot of in the mirror beard trimming. And don't be afraid to get a haircut every now and again that appears fashionable in the outside world. Even if all you want to do is sit on your couch in your sweatpants. People still gotta look at you sometimes, buddy, so clean it up, you know?
A brother's brother and a mother's son.
I played guitar before that, but I played like, I was in a, I played like Guns N' Roses songs, Poison songs, Warrant songs, and I was into that kind of music. I was like a little kid, but I loved, that appeared very rebellious to me, and then Nirvana kind of, you know, swept that aside, so, but it was the first thing that felt like I could, I was little, but it felt like I could do that. Their music felt deceptively simple to me. Slash felt like that was a little outside my skill range, but Kurt Cobain, the great trick of Kurt Cobain is that he made it look like he didn't know what he was doing, because it's like sloppy, but he knew exactly what he was doing, and he's actually a really, really cool guitar player that later in life, the more you get into playing guitar, you're like, how is he doing that? He's way better than people give him credit for as a guitar player. So, but as a kid, it was 3 chords and screaming. So I was like, I could do that. And I did that, much to my parents' consternation in my basement, you know. But that was the first record that felt like mine. All the other stuff felt like my brothers, or my sisters, or my cousins, or my mom's, or that felt like mine. It still feels that way.
20 years later.
20 years later.